minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, how about that? Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to a brand new week on your favorite daytime sports talk show, whether that's TV, radio, streaming, what have you. I am your affable host, Rod Pedersen. Mitchell Scruffy Blair joining us in seconds. And in hour two, Jersey Jim Biringer. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's so much going on in Jersey Jim's world. He can talk NFL, he can talk NHL, and he sure can talk college football, and all that's going on right now. And for all the rest, Mitchell joins us. He can talk those things and more as we bring in a brand new week. Mitchell, how are you, my friend? You survived the weekend, I see. That's great to know.
I did. As for you, looks like you were out and about this weekend, celebrating another year around the world. So congrats to you, and let's move on.
Yeah. Well, don't count your chickens. My birthday's actually Tuesday, but I was surprised Saturday night at the conclusion of the boat parade here in West Palm Beach. The gang that I was with, chief among them, Brent from Wellington, Florida, surprised me with a key lime pie with a candle in it. Yes, it was fantastic. Thank you, Mitchell. Yeah, that was Saturday. It was a fun weekend.
Okay, and I thought it was later this week, but when I saw that on Saturday, I maybe I'm wrong. So okay.
You don't have it in your diary? My birthday?
I do, but I thought maybe it had made a mistake or something, because that's happened.
Oh, I've only known you 34 years. Anyways,
but I'm getting old
let's
now.
get down
I'm
to business.
Than you. I'm older than you. I can't remember what day it is half the time anymore.
The big story, sports-wise, I don't know about Mitch, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the National Football League. And Mitch, Week 15, Sunday, they're calling it carnage. I'm calling it Black Sunday. A torn knee ligament is ending Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes' season. He was hurt in the Chiefs' 16-13 loss to the Chargers, which knocked them out of the playoffs contention. Micah Parsons was hurt in the Packers' loss at Denver. And the game that I know you were zeroed in on, the NFL's point-scoring leader padded his total. Jason Myers hit 6 field goals in Seattle's 18-16 win over Indianapolis, spoiling the debut-ish of Phillip Rivers. Were you worried, Mitch? Were you worried that it went down to 22 seconds left before your Seahawks kicked the game-winning field goal?
You know what? That was just an ugly football game. Did Phillip Rivers win that game, or could he have won that game for Indianapolis? No. Phillip Rivers was terrible yesterday. Anybody could have turned around 3 steps and handed the ball to Jonathan Taylor. And the Indy defense yesterday was outstanding. I just wondered if Seattle was overlooking Indy because they've got a huge game against the Rams on Thursday night. But when Phillip Rivers had to throw a deep pass, it was intercepted. And I think the only pass he threw that was over 12 yards was the one at the end of the game that was picked. So was I worried? A little bit. Does Seattle get the win? Yeah, they do. Let's move on to the Rams.
Well, I don't know if the Colts are going to win a game with Phillip Rivers. Last week, our poll question was, it was after you were gone. It was like Wednesday. I said, can he lead them to the Super Bowl? He can. Monkeys could fly out of our butts, too. I mean, it's not going to happen. And then once I saw the video of him, yeah.
I think it's just time. You know what? This was fun. You had your chance. The Colts need to go back to Riley Leonard. Because Riley Leonard gives them a better chance to win. And as a couple people texted me yesterday watching that game, Trevor Harris would have been better than Phillip Rivers yesterday.
Well, that's a conversation for another time. For the U.S. viewers that don't know, Mitch is talking about the 39-year-old Saskatchewan Roughriders quarterback who just signed a new contract. I mean, it's interesting you say that because I've had others say, what were the names? Nathan Rourke could have done. Davis Alexander could have done better.
There were a lot, Rod.
Right. And there's a little thing called contracts, but it's like that is a topic that I am not playing that game. I'm not going down that road today. Are you saying that we're a development league? I don't know. You're not. We can come back on that. Point 2. The Montreal Canadiens are just 1 point off the Atlantic Division lead after a 4-1 win over the Edmonton Oilers Sunday. Oilers star Leon Draisaitl was held without a point, remains stuck at .999. Vancouver edged New Jersey 2-1 in the earlier game. Former Canucks star Quinn Hughes scored in his Minnesota debut as the Wild topped Boston 6-2. I'm not going to get into the minutiae of the games right here, but what I will ask you, Mitch, is what was the bigger trade on Friday? You examined them both, specifically the Stuart Skinner trade in your Saturday column at rodpeterson.com. Is it the Tristan Jarry trade? Tristan Jarry, Stuart Skinner, is that bigger? Or the Quinn Hughes from Vancouver to Minnesota for 3 players and a pick, all told 4 first-round picks? I would vote that the Skinner-Jarry trade was bigger, but on Twitter, 92% are saying the Quinn Hughes trade's bigger. It depends on your definition.
The Quinn Hughes trade is huge. That puts the Minnesota Wild, in my mind, in Stanley Cup contention. Quinn Hughes, a Rookie of the Year. Quinn Hughes, a Norris Trophy winner not that long ago. Quinn Hughes now gives the Minnesota Wild what they need. And you know what? They give the Vancouver Canucks maybe what they need too, because the Canucks need to start refreshing things. And I don't know how the rest of the season is going to go, and I know one Vancouver sports writer went, great. Now they give us guys, now they can win, and it's going to hurt our lottery position. Well, there's no guarantee we know when it hits the lottery position, but Quinn Hughes was arguably one of the top 5 greatest Canucks to wear a uniform. The Skinner-Jarry trade? Yeah, like, whatever. Edmonton had grown tired of Skinner. Jarry wanted a new home. He wanted it to be Edmonton. Is Edmonton going to get to the Cup final? Is Pittsburgh going to get to the Cup final? I don't know. But does Minnesota have a great chance to get to the Cup final? Yep.
Well, I'm just enjoying your analysis, and we have to take a break in 1 minute's time, but we'll come back and pick this up a little more. I'm a little surprised, but I shouldn't be. You're like the resounding majority of the viewers, 92% saying the Quinn Hughes trade is far bigger. I'm going to explain when we come back why I think the other trade was bigger. And I've never convinced you once in the 30-some years I've known you of anything, so I don't think I'm going to change your mind. But I'll at least give you another way to look at it. From the audience, Jenna checks in from Southern California, says, good morning, Sabres, woo! Mark in Melford says the KC Chiefs did not get eliminated with a whimper, but with a big thud. Arlen Bruce writes in, he says, g'day, RP and Mr. Scruffy. Can we have a moment of silence for the Kansas City Chiefs? We are definitely going into a rebuild. So everybody's up, they're awake, and they're commenting. And that's a great thing. We'll be right back. We are live across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network, YouTube Live, and Mission Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The battle on the prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Hour one of the RP Show brought to you in part by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Let me slip in a quick point three. In the NBA tonight, Toronto Raptors look to stop their 4-game skid with a win against Miami. I considered going in May still, but probably won't. It's a sucky day weather-wise around here. Mitchell Scruffy Blair is with me. Just on the Stuart Skinner, Tristan Jarry trade from Friday and the Quinn Hughes to Minnesota trade. Here's, Mitch, why I think that trade's bigger. The Oilers have already been in the last 2 Stanley Cup finals. I think you know that. You said this makes the Wild Stanley Cup contenders. The Oilers were with Skinner the last 2 years. This year, they're not. Tristan Jarry comes in, has the junior credentials as a WHL champion goalie. Actually, they won the Memmer with him, did they not? I know it doesn't necessarily translate, but let's dig into this a little more because we have so many viewers in Edmonton, and you are an Oiler fan. What? So it wasn't working with Stu, and Pickard took the loss last night against Montreal. What is this hoping to accomplish for Edmonton other than moving Stewart out? Because it was just, I guess, an experiment that they gave up on.
There are a lot of different things that I've heard, Rod. One of them, I wonder, did the Edmonton Oilers decide, knowing that they weren't going to afford Stuart Skinner when he becomes a free agent at the end of the year, did they just decide that they want to get a goalie that's going to keep them afloat, to the point where they've got to, I don't know what, they can use their money at another spot, knowing that they have Tristan Jarry at a very team-friendly contract. People say that Stuart Skinner is going to get $6 to $7 million a season when he hits unrestricted free agency. I don't know if that's going to be the case. It'll depend on what he does in Pittsburgh. But I think Edmonton has said here, you know what, we don't need a marquee goalie like a Shesterkin, like a Sorokin, to win a Stanley Cup. We need to get a couple of more talented defensemen. We need to add to our top 6, maybe one to our top 6, one to our bottom 6, to achieve what we want to achieve. And we've got to do it within the next 2 years, or else Connor McDavid's probably gone. So I think this was a message that was sent that they weren't going to care. I don't think Stu wanted to stay in Edmonton. So they go out and they get a goaltender who comes on the cheap and is about the same type of goaltender that Stuart Skinner is.
Okay, fair. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, the Skinner-Jarry trade was just a trade to give both goalies and teams a fresh start. I don't see Jarry being better, maybe more consistent. Saying it again, a change of scenery generally does work. I'm going to go, and we're going to go off-roading a little bit in terms of our topics and what we do here. With Phillip Rivers coming in at 44 and playing it, he looked a little like Ovi when he's out on the ice, not really overexerting himself, but he did throw a touchdown pass in the game, Mitch. Here's the reason I bring this up is, what's the tougher position to play? Goaltender or quarterback? Pro football quarterback, or let's say NFL quarterback or NHL goaltender. I know, right? I'm basically saying how easy or difficult is it to do? I think it would make a very good poll question for tomorrow, by the way, which is the more difficult position to play. Because I feel like if you put Sergei Bobrovsky, who I feel is the best goalie in the world, behind center in a football game, he'd eventually figure it out. But if you put Patrick Mahomes in net facing 100-plus mile-an-hour slap shots, I don't think he's figuring it out. I think it's harder to be a goalie.
It's two different positions, but they all both have the same glamour spot, if you know what I mean. When people look at success with a team, they look at the quarterback in football, and they look at the goaltender in hockey. Let's just go back to the last 2 Stanley Cups, Rod. And maybe let's go back to the last 2 Western Conference Finals. Stuart Skinner outplayed Jake Ottinger to get to the Stanley Cup final. And then Sergei Bobrovsky outplayed Stuart Skinner. 2 years ago, it wasn't as bad because it got to game 7, but last year, Bobrovsky was by far and away the better goaltender. And now you take a look at the quarterback. Are the New England Patriots the team that they were if they didn't have Tom Brady as quarterback? Are the Kansas City Chiefs going to be as strong without Patrick Mahomes? If Josh Allen gets hurt, where are the Buffalo Bills going to be? They don't talk about that. They don't say, oh, well, Travis Kelce got hurt. The Chiefs are done. Oh, Julian Edelman got hurt. The Patriots are done. It's always the quarterback. And when a team loses in hockey, 90% of the time they look at the goaltender to see how he performs. So that's a great question.
I know, and I know
if you can really get the right answer.
Well, that the only way we would know is if we trotted Sergei Bobrovsky out to play for the Dolphins tonight and put Tua in goal for the Panthers. Wouldn't that be something? But there's a reason.
Entertaining.
I know. I think I would know which would go better, but I guess there was a reason why I brought that up, because I don't like the idea of just putting anybody in goal. But I mean, I look at it differently as a former goaltender. I like the Panthers have won back-to-back Stanley Cups with, at the time, the highest paid goalie in the NHL, Sergei Bobrovsky. I don't understand. Like, look at Hellebuck. And trust me, we'll get around to tonight's games. The Jets are playing tonight, Ottawa Senators on Prime Hockey. You saw we have seen over the last 2 weeks the importance of Connor Hellebuck, 3 weeks, whatever it was, right? Like, why would you not spend the money on a goalie? The Stuart Skinner thing it's just weird. It's weird. And I don't think you were on when I brought this up. Bill Lindsay, the Panthers color commentator, former Panthers player, said to me recently, he goes, who's your team in the NHL? I said, well, I live here, the Panthers, I guess. And he's like, no, really? Like growing up, who was I said, the Oilers. Yeah, the Oilers. And so Stuart Skinner, Mitch, you remember this in the playoffs the last 2 years, he was shattering or breaking Grant Fuhr's records. Like, what's Stuart Skinner's legacy in Edmonton?
Roddy, we talk about Skinner getting to the Western Conference final, or to the Stanley Cup final 2 years in a row, which is fair. He's the goaltender of record. You take a look at the stats, he's the goaltender of record. But people seem to forget that Stuart Skinner had to be replaced by Calvin Pickard in both of those playoff runs. Stuart Skinner's legacy to me in Edmonton will be a guy that was just too hot and cold. And you never knew when those cold streaks were going to happen. The series against the Kings, when Jim Hiller made that terrible decision that arguably would have knocked the Oilers out in the first round, Stuart Skinner was lights out after that. And in the Western Conference final, he was lights out. And then the Stanley Cup final hits, and the Stu Skinner that we thought we were going to get, we get.
Okay.
Opening night hits this year. The Oilers are way up against Calgary. And then Stuart Skinner has a brain fart. And we've seen that happen so many times. That's where I think Stuart Skinner's legacy is going to be, is a guy that just, for whatever reason, couldn't answer the moment when he needed to.
Well, I get it, but I'm just sitting here going devil's advocate. I mean, I watch the Oilers a lot too. It's like if he's going to get $7 million somewhere, why can't he get it in Edmonton? Yet I understand why he's not there for all the reasons you just said. I understand it, but I think you agree with me when I say this is just weird. But anyways, a couple other things.
The timing of it is.
Yeah, Kirk writes in on the Western Dodge text line. Kirk says, hey, Rod, how about those Buffalo Bills? What a comeback, down 21-0. Oh, and it was painful watching Phillip Rivers throw the ball. No velocity on his passes. I enjoyed, as I always do, listening to Florio and Chris Sims this morning talking about Phil Rivers and how the arm strength was not there. And your defense, I say yours in the Seahawks, they were prepared for that. It's like they knew that Rivers was not going to be able to get the ball. He was not the same Phillip Rivers. But as far as the Bills-Patriots go, I got to say, the odds makers clearly know what they're doing. I don't know how many times before I will realize that they do, because I'm like, how would they think the Patriots won 10 in a row? And they're at home. Didn't bother the Bills, which it was halftime was the turning point. Did you watch any of that game?
I was watching on Red Zone, so I had everything on. I always watch Red Zone during the early games, or whenever the Seahawks aren't playing, because then I tune in on the Seahawks. So
isn't it amazing in a football game, more than any other sport, when the momentum swings, it's just like you can't get it back. You can just see it coming. The Bills just said, "We're done." They're done.
I thought when Trevion Henderson broke that long touchdown run, his second one after Buffalo had taken the lead, I thought that was going to turn the game back into New England's favor. But that was the Buffalo Bills did what the Kansas City Chiefs have done for so many years. Just when you think they're done, they're not. And I think week 5, week 6, Buffalo would have went, okay, today's not our day. But yesterday, Buffalo went, sorry, New England, you can fight back all you want, but we're not giving this game up. You're not getting the hat and T-shirt today. And the experience of the Buffalo Bills proved itself yesterday. Now, it's probably a valuable lesson for the New England Patriots moving forward, but now people are going to say, this is what happens when the New England Patriots play a quality team. Because people have said all year, they haven't beaten a quality opponent, maybe with the exception of Buffalo. And now, with everything on the line yesterday, Buffalo beat them.
Yeah, it was just Josh Allen went into God mode. He's so good. So from the audience regarding what's the tougher position to play, goaltender in the NHL or quarterback in pro football, Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, quarterback always has the ball in his hands, makes all decisions. Goalies can be contained and protected by their teammates. Quarterback is the toughest position. You're right, and I know that, and I'm just throwing that out for fun. Goalies just stop the puck. That's all you got to do. I remember I heard an interview with Spencer Knight after his shutout last week. He was asked by some of the Chicago reporters, what did you think of what so-and-so was doing up there? I don't know. I wasn't watching. I was just trying to stop the puck. Same. And that's why I always wondered why so many goalies mates turned into analysts. Kelly Rudy, Greg Millen, Martin Bayon. There's a million of them. Pang. Yep. It's like you guys weren't even paying attention, yet they're very, very good. Maybe it was just me that wasn't paying attention. I'm not sure.
Why are so many tough guys in analysts too?
There's not as many as goalies. Who are you thinking? Jody, Shelley? Who are you thinking?
Kyprios, Kelly Chase.
Yeah, there are some.
A lot of tough guys. Grimson.
Because they got personality.
I guess.
Utah Darren writes in, he says, the Pats have played a last place schedule, and it showed yesterday. Seabass writes in, and he says, hey, guys, does the NFL need a shorter schedule to stop these gruesome injuries? No, and they're elongating the schedule to 18 games. They don't care. What happened to Patrick Mahomes and Micah Parsons was an act of God. I hate to say, but it's true. To say they don't care is not accurate, but it's the cost of doing business. How's that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How are we doing for time? We're going to take a break here shortly. Yes. Okay. I can read a couple more. Carlos in Indianapolis says, so Phillip Rivers is going to be horrible against the Niners on Monday? I think he'll be a little bit better with a full week of practice in and a full game under his belt. I guess we'll see. Bill says goalie is the toughest in any sport. Yeah, I agree. Goalies don't have to think. That's why I was so good at it. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The battle on the prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back. Just to clarify, I said before the break why I was so good as a goalie. I wasn't so good. That's why I'm sitting here today. But Mitch doesn't know this story. On my dad's deathbed, the man who scouted 26 years in the National Hockey League for the Dallas Stars, he did say to me, he goes, you could have played in the NHL. And I said, really? You never told me that. And Dad said, why? Why would I? You never worked at it. You didn't care. You picked the right career, is what my dad said. So, yeah, thank you, Dad. I just wanted to get that out. I wasn't that good. Okay, Mitch, tonight's NHL games, it's always fun to make the picks against somebody. I mean, I make the picks if nobody's with me, but you're here. So you ready to go? There's only 5 games.
Let's do it.
Okay, so it's a little thing we call sport betting. We don't put any money on it. Thank God, because I lost a bet on the Cowboys last night. You notice I haven't even talked about America's toilet team. Florida at Tampa Bay tonight.
Before we get to that, if there are 2 players that need new homes in the NFL, they are Justin Jefferson and Joe Burrow.
Okay, because they're dying where they are, or what?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just
Florida,
a shame to see Justin Jefferson just get ignored the way he does.
We'll come back on that. Florida at Tampa Bay tonight. Who you got?
That game's in Miami, correct?
No, Tampa.
At Sunrise?
Yeah, no.
It's
Tampa.
in Tampa?
Yeah.
I'll take the Panthers.
Okay, you take the Panthers. I'm taking the Lightning. Tail end of a long roadie for the Panthers, and the Lightning still hate the Panthers with a passion. Tampa will win tonight. Anaheim at the Rangers. Chris Kreider's return. Who do you like?
Anaheim's been on a long roadie. I'm going to go with the Rangers here.
Okay, I will take Anaheim just because. Ottawa at Winnipeg, the first all-Canadian matchup of the season on Prime. Who do you like? Ottawa at Winnipeg.
Do we know who's starting in goal for Winnipeg?
I believe Hellebuck. I could look it up, but
Then I'll take Winnipeg.
me too. Nashville at St. Louis.
Oh, boy. St. Louis.
I know what you're saying. It's a toilet bowl, too. I'll take Nashville just to be spicy. And the LA Kings at the Dallas Stars.
Dallas.
Okay. Well, what the heck? I'll take the Kings just to continue the trend. Okay. You said that you write columns for various U.S. betting sites. Do you do actual picks, Mitch?
Yep.
Do you find that this year's hockey games and football games are completely out to lunch in terms of picks or results, I should say?
The thing I'm finding with hockey this year, Rod, is that you don't see a lot of games that are finishing with a 2-goal deficit. You know, you're not seeing games that end 5-3, 6-2. We're seeing a lot of one-goal hockey games, no matter if teams are good or bad. And that makes it tough. For football, it's been tough this year as well. And you talk about the odds makers, and yesterday I went 2-2. And, you know, it's, then you take a look at the college football slate. I did a story up for the LA Bowl, and I basically nailed it. With Washington crushing Boise State. I just find it a lot tougher this year to pick hockey because the games are so much closer. And in football, and I don't know what the record is, and I know you talked about the odds makers a minute ago. I don't know what the overall record is. But like I know tonight, for instance, and I didn't write anything up on this, the Pittsburgh Steelers have won their last 5 Monday night games. They're 14-1 straight up in their last 15 Monday nighters. So to me, that screams Pittsburgh. And I think the last line I saw was Pittsburgh by 4.5. To me, Miami in a cold weather game, that's not going to end well for the Dolphins. So I'll take Pittsburgh to cover that all day long.
Well, there are people.
You know, you talk about those hockey games tonight.
Yeah.
How many of those can we see go to overtime? Because I can see 3 of them for sure.
Florida, Tampa wouldn't surprise me if they went to extra time.
LA,
statistically, this is the closest year in NHL history in terms of goals. You said the 2-goal margin. 1 or 2-goal games with an empty netter, it's the highest ever, 78% of games, and I don't know why that is. But anyways, I want to get as many comments in here before you go as possible. Rob in Las Vegas writes in, he says, Las Vegas Raiders will likely have the opportunity to draft quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Surely they can't screw this up, can they? Hang on. Wayne in Winnipeg writes in, he says, hey guys, let's give Phillip Rivers a break. The guy comes in after 4 years retirement, has a partial week to get ready, and almost won in Seattle against one of the best defenses. I'm not the one trashing him. Scruffy was. 120 yards, passing touchdown, sacks once, 1 pick. He wasn't horrible. He's better than I thought he would be. And I loved his quote afterwards. He's like, in life, you can take the safe bet and stay home on the couch or go try it and see what happens.
Yep.
My God.
No, I'll give him credit. He went out and did
story
it.
of my life. We're all pulling for him. I don't think anybody's denigrating the guy. But as far as the Raiders who got shut out in Philly, they probably could blow this. I mean, I was watching the game. I can't remember who I was talking to, and they're like, who thought Pete Carroll would flame out or who thought this would go well, I guess. Like, what is the succession plan for the Raiders? Would you be surprised to know they don't have one?
I am hearing more and more that Pete Carroll's going to be a one and done in LA. Or in Vegas. Sorry. And I questioned the Raiders signing Pete Carroll in the first place because I think that when Pete left Seattle, he was done with the game. And I think they lured him back. I just think that they need some new blood in there. And, Roddy, I know it's not going to happen. And I know I'm sort of calling for it with the University of Michigan after that story that's going around with them. It's time for John Gruden.
To do what?
No, John Gruden's not going to coach back in the NFL because of what's going on. I would love to see John Gruden take over at Michigan. But the Raiders are going to go out and they're going to find somebody that's like a Brian Dable or a Mike McCarthy. They're going to go out and they're going to find someone recycled. Will it work for them? I don't know.
What they have there, and I'm trying to remember what come first, Tom Brady being part of the ownership or Pete Carroll being hired. But I swear to God, if I was in those ownership meetings, I would be looking at Tom and going, what should we do, Tom? And in a lot of ways, I think that is what they do. I think Tom Brady had a hand in hiring Pete Carroll.
No,
right? It's not Tom Brady's fault that he didn't.
I don't think Tom was there when Pete was hired. I don't think. I might be wrong with that. But Tom, do the 6-7. That's right. But Tom will be able to tell you what quarterback to take if the Raiders pick number 1 or wherever they end up selecting. And I think Tom will give them a list of, here are your top 3 quarterbacks. Let's make sure we get one of them.
Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in, he says, Scruffy hit the nail on the head regarding Stuart Skinner. He's just too inconsistent for the Oilers. Yeah, it's too bad it doesn't work out, but wouldn't it be nice if everything worked out in life? Doesn't work that way. We'll keep it going. The comments are coming in on what's the more difficult position to play, goaltender or quarterback. And I didn't think it would get this much of a reaction, but there's no way to solve it, Mitch. That's the tough part. There's no way to solve this. I'll explain why I think it's the quarterback when we come back after the break. But any last thoughts from you before I let you go and do it all over again tomorrow?
Nope. Tough to see Connor Bedard go on the IR today for the Blackhawks. Let's hope that injury is not serious for him.
How excited are you for bowl season?
Talk to me after Christmas Day when they start to become important.
Okay.
Like, I guess we've got our games coming up here on Friday, Oklahoma and Alabama, and the first round. That'll be fun to watch, but some of the other ones, no thanks.
I think it's the Veterans Bowl is tomorrow, Jacksonville State and Troy. I know you'll be tuned in for that.
Who?
I think it's the Veterans Bowl. I can't remember. First Responders Bowl, something like that. But anyways, we'll be watching if we have a chance. The Cereal Bowl, says producer Corey.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl in Orlando is no joke now. I know a lot of people going to that.
I love that bowl.
Okay, Scruffy. What's your favorite Pop-Tart?
Oh, it's got to be raspberry.
Strawberry for me. Yo.
All right.
But not the s'mores, not the chocolate, not the blueberry. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, now that Scruffy's gone, we can truly have some fun. Okay, we were talking about the bowl season beginning tomorrow. I couldn't totally remember what the name of the bowl was tomorrow, featuring Troy and Jacksonville State. And I darn sure can't remember. Oh, it's in Mobile, Alabama. Jason in Red, thank you, Jason, for coming to the rescue. He says, the Salute to Veterans Bowl, according to the big board, Rod. Thank you. So the fun part is this. We started playing this on this show back when John Frenzy was a regular on set. And it was, name the last restaurant you had and the last meal you had, and that's the name of your bowl game. And I remember, for instance, I remember John Frenzy going, the Mr. Mike's Taco Salad Bowl. And I'm like, that sounds like a legitimate bowl. And for me, it would be right now, it would be the Crazy Uncle Mike's Nacho Bowl. Because there's a sports park here called Crazy Uncle Mike's. And the last thing I had was a Nacho Bowl. I understand, given the timing of this program, a lot of you, it might be breakfast, and that's okay too. But tell me, right, Corey, did you have breakfast this morning? Or Corey, producer Corey, the last restaurant you ate at and the meal you had, bowl. And if you all need to think about it, we got plenty of time, 15 minutes left in this hour, like the McDonald's McGriddle Bowl. It's actually small things amuse small minds. At your service. And then the other question, the one thing about this show, similar to my blog back in the day, rodpeterson.com, 40 million all-time hits, not a big deal. Try to make people think. But I don't want you to think too hard. Just think with fun stuff, i.e., what's the more difficult position to play? Pro football quarterback, pro hockey goaltender. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and says, goalie versus quarterback, pressure-wise, it's the same. Past that, it's quarterback. Far more goes into. Here's the thing. I've never played quarterback, but I played goal, and all you got to do is stand in front of the puck. And part of the reason I got less interested was when those shots started to hurt, I got a lot less interested. But that's all you got to do. That is it. The quarterback, you need to know what everybody on the field's doing. I don't need to tell you. I haven't played it, but I've been around enough guys. And I see the work that goes into it. That's why the goalies are, in a lot of cases, a bunch of goof-offs. All they got to do is stop the puck. That's all they're going to think. Anyways. Well, season ain't even over yet. and our viewers and Scruffy have Pete Carroll being fired. Wayne in Winnipeg writes in. He says, yeah, John Gruden should be hired as Raiders coach. He's got to square it with Goodell. He's too good a coach to be sidelined by petty differences. Wayne, here's the thing, as my football friends like to say. Yeah, it would be nice to think that grown men could grow up and not act so petty, but they don't. So, here we are. And Gruden is never going back to the Raiders and probably never going back to the NFL, which is unfortunate. As Gary Echeverry says, never's a long time. So maybe he'll coach again, but as long as Roger Goodell's commissioner, I don't think it's happening. Jason says his last restaurant and last meal bowl, the East 40th Pub Chicken Wings Bowl. Works for me. Corey, have you come up with yours yet, producer Corey? Oh, pizza. The Pizza Bowl. Oh, that's a bowl I could get down with. The Pizza Bowl. That sounds like a real bowl. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the Matador Pizza Dry Rib Bowl. Yeah, that's the other thing. I remember when we did this with John Frenzy, everybody got hungry. It's kind of where I'm at right now. Mark in Melfort says, my bowl game would be the Firehouse Sub Walleye Bowl. These just get better and better. For those that just turned their television on and are saying, what the hell is he talking about? Or radio, Mission Radio, WQVZ. You can text us, 902-518-3033. The text line is brought to you by Western Dodge. Are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. What's the last restaurant you ate at? Last meal you had? That's your bowl game name. For me, the Crazy Uncle Mike's Nacho Bowl. 902-518-3033. And by the way, we've got some new commercials in the rotation for those that are watching the streaming, including Dwight Yoakam coming to the Rempel Temple this summer. El Sasco writes in on that Western Dodge text line. He says, hey, Reverend Rodney and Bishop Blair, very few things make me stop in my tracks anymore. That Dwight Yoakam commercial, holy smokes, amped up, baby. June 24th at the Rempel Temple. I can't wait to be there for it. I watch every concert that comes through. Mark Chestnut. I cried at Clint Black. I cried. I went to an Elvis impersonator at the Grey Eagle Resort in Calgary when we were doing the shows there, and I saw all these old ladies crying, and I'm like, what? That's weird. And then I go to the Clint Black, and I cried. I'm like, I get it. Darren in Melfort writes in, he says, coming from a goalie, I think a goalie is harder to play than a quarterback. It's a different world on skates, for starters. Darren also says, the Montana's Steak and Shrimp Bowl. Oh, that sounds incredible. Tony is watching in the Bread City. He writes in, he says, the Wendy's Baconator Meal Bowl. Brought to you by the Caramel Toffee Frosty. Now I'm really getting hungry. I have to shut this down. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, hey, Rod, the Denny's Grand Slam Bowl. LOL. I just was going through my credit card receipts, doing expenses on the weekend. And there was one in there from Denny's from Moose's wedding in Palm Springs. Yeah, I went to Palm Springs and went to Denny's. You got a problem with it? At a clubhouse and fries. Came out to $35 Canadian. I should probably do a sports update here. It's brought to you by the Ultimate, where's my bill? Ultimate Fan Zone. Your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. The Winnipeg Jets welcome the Ottawa Senators to town tonight in NHL play. Winnipeg coming off a 5-1 win over Washington, thanks in part to the return of starting goaltender Connor Hellebuck. The Toronto Raptors are in Miami tonight to take on the Heat. Toronto looking to snap a 4-game slide. Raptors are still without starting wing R.J. Barrett. They're 3-6 without the Mississauga product. I'm still deliberating on going to the game. Had plans to go, then they got derailed, then they were back on again. You may or may not. The Raptors are my team, and tickets are $15. They are the lowest cost tickets for any road team coming into Miami, the Toronto Raptors. That probably won't surprise you. And taking the train into Miami is actually kind of fun. I may or may not go. We'll see. The Miami Dolphins are set to visit the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. The 6-7 Dolphins are riding a 4-game win streak, which includes a 34-10 victory over the Jets last week. The 7-6 Steelers will look to keep ahead of the Baltimore Ravens, who sit a half game back for top spot in the AFC North Division. And Mariah Carey is going to add some American pop star pedigree to the opening ceremony for the upcoming Milan Cortina Winter Olympics. The local organizing committee announced today that the 56-year-old Carey, the All I Want for Christmas Is You singer, is the first international star to perform in the February 6th ceremony at Milan's San Siro Soccer Stadium. How about that? That is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Disneyland for adults, as one of our viewers said. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Didn't mention yet, by the way, the Mad Greek Eatery brings you our Junior Hockey Report daily. If you're craving the famous Greek ribs everybody in Moose Jaw is talking about, get yours today at the Mad Greek. Dine in, pick up, or order online at themadgreekeatery.com. Last restaurant you ate at, last meal you had. That's the name of your bowl game. Bill in the Queen City writes in and he says, Bobby's East Coast Poppers Bowl. Works. There's far more convoluted bowl names than that. Jason writes in, he says, Rod, I got to ask, why do you call the rink in Moose Jaw the Rempel Temple? Did Rempel build it? Kelly Rempel went around and beat down doors and solicited support to get that arena named. And the funny thing is, 2 Fridays ago, I was in there sitting beside him. And I said, who came up right beside Rempel in the press box? And I said, who came up with that nickname, the Rempel Temple? He goes, you. I said, no, it wasn't me. I think it was Scruffy. He's like, well, you made it famous. All right, I'll take it. Producer Corey is taking an odd turn. Hung's Kitchen Bowl. He says that's a real restaurant in Regina. Amazing faux. Hung's Kitchen Bowl. Why not? At this point, why not? Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Denny's is always a safe bet. And that's why I went there. Rob in Vegas, I was craving a clubhouse, and it didn't let me down. I said, hold the guacamole. And they did. That was a good decision. Rob from Vegas will carry your question over to the next, or comment to the next hour when we go to air in Vegas. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV in Silver State.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
It's just us. Dinner is served, or maybe it's lunch. I'll guarantee you're going to be hungry after this conversation. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. We welcome all viewers to the program on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We say howdy do to those that have hung with us into hour 2 on the Game Plus Television Network. We're live daily across Canada and replayed across Canada. Thank you, Game Plus, for doing that. Trust me, we really appreciate it. It's a brand new week. It's episode number 1639 of Canada's favorite daytime talk show, and now Nevada's. And our guest is Jersey Jim Biringer. I don't believe I've told anybody yet. Jersey Jim is coming up in the next... Oh, I did last hour, because I said he can talk about everything that's hot right now. The NFL, the NHL, the college football bowl season and playoff. Jimmy's up on it all. He'll be joining us in the next segment. And before we delve into the quick six show topics, when I said you're going to be hungry, the bowl season officially begins tomorrow with the Salute to Veterans Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. It's Troy versus Jacksonville State. And I said to the viewers, this is a fun game to play. Your bowl game name is the last restaurant you ate at and the last thing you ate. So for me, it's Crazy Uncle Mike's Nacho Bowl, which is where I went Sunday night. Crazy Uncle Mike's Sports Bar here in South Florida. Bill's watching in Brantford, Ontario, the home of Wayne Gretzky. And he writes in on the text line at 902-518-3033. Says, hey, my bowl game name would be Kingswood's Western Sandwich Bowl. Yeehaw! I like it. That sounds like a bowl game name to me. See how much fun this can be? 902-518-3033. We started playing this years ago on this program when the Hall of Fame football broadcaster John Frenzy was on with us. And we said, Frenzy, what was your bowl game name based on this criteria? He says, the Mr. Mike's Taco Salad Bowl. It works. It absolutely. Tell me right now, 902-518-3033. Or for those that are watching on streaming, you can write in there. Oh, yeah. Navy Don writes in. He says, Navy beat Army. So my weekend was great. Yes, it was the featured game on Saturday, and 17-16 was the score. We watched it. The midshipmen won the game. And it's funny because Saturday afternoon we were driving down Southern Boulevard, which goes right by Palm Beach Airport, where the president, Donald J. Trump, parks his planes, whether it's the Trump family plane or Air Force One. And Air Force One wasn't there. And we were like, where's the president? And then we're like, oh, he's at the Army-Navy game, which he never misses in Baltimore, Maryland. Pretty good football game. It was. Thank you, Navy Dawn, for tuning in. And thank you for your continued service. Okay, let's get into the quick 6 show topics and stop Mickey Mousing. We start with the National Football League with the big story of the day. Miami is at Pittsburgh tonight on Monday Night Football with the Steelers favored by 3. The Dolphins have won 4 straight behind a strong rushing attack and improved defense to stay alive in the playoff chase. It coincides with the firing of the general manager, Chris Greer. It's funny because here, which is where I live in South Florida, people were clamoring for a firing, and then it happened, and everybody was like, oh. They were clamoring for it, but nobody really likes to see people lose their job per se. But it happened, and now they went on this heater. It's going to end tonight, though. The Steelers coming off a big win in Baltimore to put them back in first place in the AFC North. It's going to be cold, 24 Fahrenheit, I think they said. That's well below 0 Celsius. Advantage Steelers, but we're all going to be watching. Sunday, I'm referring to it as Black Sunday in the NFL. A torn knee ligament ending Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes' season. He was hurt in a 16-13 loss to the Chargers. Green Bay pass rusher Micah Parsons also suffered a significant knee injury in a 34-26 loss to Denver. I believe it was an ACL as well, though that story doesn't say that. And then, frankly, the game we were all paying attention to, the NFL's point-scoring leader is padding his total. Jason Myers hit 6 field goals for the Seahawks, including the game winner with 22 seconds left to go. A 56-yarder. The Seahawks won 18-16 over Indy. But we're all sitting there thinking, he's not, is he? He's not. Phillip Rivers is not going to lead the Colts to a win. And they almost did. Wasn't his fault. Those are the big stories from Week 15, however. The injuries, the gruesomeness, and Phillip Rivers not looking terrible. Now, Scruffy was with us last hour ripping apart Phillip Rivers' play. And I'm like, I'd like to see you do better, which, by the way, brought up another fun thing. We got the bowl thing going for those that have just joined us, like you, Ryan, in upstate New York. Name your bowl game name, because the bowl season officially kicks off on Tuesday. The salute to veterans, appropriately enough, bowl. The last restaurant you ate at and the last meal you had. Mine, the Crazy Uncle Mike's Nachos Bowl. By the way, Navy, another topic that I had was, what's the more difficult position to play? Pro quarterback? Pro goaltender? And I'm going to say, as a goaltender of some repute, senior hockey in Saskatchewan, that's no joke, by the way, it's a quarterback. Because as a goaltender, all you really need to do is get in the net and stop the puck. It's not easy. That's why I say the question. It's not easy, okay? Even the fourth line plugs now are shooting 100 mile an hour. It's not easy. You could get hurt. If you want to do it successfully, that's even more difficult than just standing in there and hoping to get hit. The quarterback, you're still going to get hurt in either position, but you also got to think. The really good goalies do think, just so you know. I don't want to denigrate. Sergei Bobrovsky here in South Florida is the best at it, but it's quarterback. And it's interesting, enough people have written in here and said that they actually think it's goaltending, but it's not. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he says, Phillip Rivers now gets a full week of practice and now has a full game under his belt. He'll be fine for the rest of the season. Maybe too late for a playoff spot, though. Well, again, I've never understood why your goaltender would not be the most important. No, it is the most important. Why it would not be the highest paid position on your payroll. Yeah, you can pay your McDavid's $12.5. You can pay your Kaprizov's $19 million. But if you don't have a goalie, ask the Winnipeg Jets, which what's Hellebuck getting? 8.5? earning every penny, which is actually a decent segue probably into the next point here. Sorry, I'm just dipping through your comments as I try and make my own. From Sunday in the NHL, the Montreal Canadiens are just 1 point off the Atlantic Division lead after a 4-1 win over the Edmonton Oilers. Newly acquired Oilers goalie Tristan Jarry did not play in that game, but he did play Saturday night as the Oilers beat the Leafs in Toronto. 6-3, I believe, was the score. Vancouver edged New Jersey 2-1 in an early game Sunday. Former Canuck star, as of Friday, he was dealt from Vancouver to Minnesota, and he scored in his Minnesota debut as the Wild top Boston 6-2. Don't mind me. I'm just dipping into our Twitter account. Give us a follow on Twitter at Rod Pedersen Show. Which was the bigger trade on Friday? The Stuart Skinner, Tristan Jarry trade, or the Quinn Hughes from Vancouver for 4 Minnesota players, 3 players and a first-round pick. And those 3 players were all first-round picks. 89% of you saying it's the Hughes trade. Here again, example 978 of Rod being this fish swimming upstream. It's exhausting. Why I think the Stuart Skinner trade is different and bigger is that this guy got the Oilers to the Stanley Cup final back-to-back seasons. If it was an experiment, which it wasn't even really an experiment, I don't know what you would call it. The marriage is over. It just wasn't working out anymore. So you move them, and I don't think whether you're a Stuart Skinner fan or an Oiler fan, both or neither, anybody who's watched the games knows this had to happen. I wrote it in my weekend newsletter, the Rod Squad newsletter, brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. It's in my Monday column at rodpeterson.com. When Martin Biron of TSN said that the Oiler players had lost faith in Skinner, I immediately thought, and he's lost faith in them. Either way, it's over. But Tristan Jarry has Memorial Cup credentials. He led the Edmonton Oil Kings junior hockey team to the Memmer. I know it's not the same, but it's kind of the same. He's a 2-time All-Star. He's got his chops. I mean, this is a move to save the Oilers' Stanley Cup aspirations. Clearly, they don't believe that they can get back there with Stuart Skinner. They believe Tristan Jarry can. Yeah, it's a change of scenery. We went over all of that on Friday. Now, but that's not to discount the Quinn Hughes trade either. All-time scoring defenseman in Vancouver Canucks history. I get it. But, and yeah, it also makes Minnesota an immediate Stanley Cup contender, for sure. But they've never even been in a Stanley Cup final. The Oilers have been in the last 2. This was a move to save the Oilers' Stanley Cup aspirations. For me, that makes it bigger. Have I convinced you yet? Are you in the 8% or 11% that thinks the goalie trade was bigger? Yeah, again, I'm a goalie guy and I'm always biased. I'm not disputing that. Programs brought to you by Pump Jack Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Oh, and by the way, the text line is open as always for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. Looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. Oh, my buddy Rusty's watching. Hey, Russ. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, Golf's Steak and Lobster Bowl. And some code here. He says, and Dirty Pig says hi. Is he with you, Russ? I feel like we need to tell this story. Number one, for those that just turned their television sets on, we haven't completely lost our minds. We're having a little fun game here as the bowl season kicks off on Tuesday. I'm saying, what is your bowl game name? The last restaurant you ate at and what you ate. Russ, I guess you had the wedding on the weekend, Russ. Congratulations, by the way. Golf's Steakhouse, Steak and Lobster Bowl. Sounds so regal. Can we make that happen? And then, as I was flying home from Pearson International Airport in Toronto to the Queen City, I ran into Russ and his beautiful wife, Jill, and we got talking, and they said they were flying home for their son Kyle's wedding, and he was marrying a young gal from my hometown, a Sandbrook girl. I said, oh, a Sandbrook? Who's her dad? Gary. I said, oh, Dirty Pig. They're like, excuse me? I'm like, His nickname's Dirty Pig. So I didn't give it to him. Don't blame me. Good day, Brian in Edmonton checking in. BW from Edmonton. And Carlos pointing out, it is 11 minutes past the hour. Envision a positive outcome to your current quagmire. Trust me, it works. And what do you have to lose? Let me get back on point, if there is a point. Point 3 in the NBA tonight. Toronto looks to stop its 4-game skid with a win against Miami. I may go, I may not go. I don't know. It's hilarious. I was asked again on the weekend, are you going back to Saskatchewan this summer to broadcast baseball? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing tonight. Probably, but I don't know. LeBron James made 2 free throws with 3.9 seconds to go as the Lakers topped the Phoenix Suns 116-114. And the New Orleans Pelicans are happy to have injury-plagued forward Zion Williamson back in the lineup. He scored 18 points in his return to help the Pelicans beat Chicago 114-104 Sunday. Does your message stand out, by the way? At Outlaw Communications, they make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communications experience to the role. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. And I might add, if you're stuck for gift ideas, Suds gift cards are the way to go. They sponsor the Rod Squad newsletter. It drops every Sunday morning or the afternoon if we get lazy. Available online at our location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Visit sudsregina.com. Let's see, we rolled through this. Point 1, NFL, Monday Nighter, Black Sunday. Point 2, NHL from Sunday, and the poll question. Point 3, the NBA. Point 4, the NHL tonight. 5 games tonight. We've already gone through our picks. We'll go through them again. Florida at Tampa Bay tonight. It is the Battle of Florida. The Panthers at the tail end of a roadie. It's a rare night that I don't pick the Florida Panthers to win, but I don't. It's always special when the Lightning and Panthers get together because they hate each other now. It took 30 years, but now they legit hate each other. I took the Bolts to win. Scruffy took the Cats. Anaheim at the New York Rangers might be the featured game of the night. Chris Kreider returns to Madison Square Garden. Scruffy took the Rangers. I took the Ducks. How are we doing on time, by the way, producer Corey? I feel like we should be getting... Okay. Ottawa at Winnipeg on Prime. It is the first all-Canadian matchup. And trust me, you as viewers, us Canadians get all giddy about all Canadian matchups. It's the first of the season. Jets home to Ottawa. We both got the Jets to win. Nashville at St. Louis tonight. I got the Preds. Scruffy took the Blues. And the late game is the Dallas Stars home to the Los Angeles Kings. Scruffy took the Stars. I took the Kings. Mike Modano, by the way, 9 points ahead of Patrick Kane for the all-time U.S. scoring lead. That's about to go down, and that saddens me. We'll be back with Jersey Jim talking NFL, NHL, college football, and whatever else you'd like to talk about. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network as we broadcast across Nevada and across Canada and 32 U.S. states right here on our overlord, the Game Plus TV network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. The Rod Pedersen Show is brought to you in part by CoolBet.com. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at CoolBet.com. Canadian viewers only. So that precludes our man, Jersey Jim Biringer, where we're very big in Jersey on the Game Plus television network. How you doing, Jimbo?
I'm doing well, Rod. How are you?
Good. Listen, I think a great place to start with you, Jersey Jim, by the way, is the man behind NHLRumors.com, NHL Full Press, and he knows his way around college football, too. Our poll question goes back to Friday's trades. Which is the bigger trade in the National Hockey League? Stuart Skinner for Tristan Jarry, or the Quinn Hughes trade, the Vancouver Canucks captain to Minnesota for 4 players, 3 players and a pick? What's a bigger trade in your mind?
I think in my mind, I think it's the Quinn Hughes trade, because I think that you're getting an elite defenseman, second best defenseman in the league, for really good players coming back. I mean, Marco Rossi's no slouch. I know Zeev Buium's going to be a stud. You can't replace a guy like Quinn Hughes, but however, you're going to get a really good player. I saw him firsthand yesterday. Well, I saw it on TV. I didn't bear the snow to go down to Prudential Center. Too much snow on the ground, too many dangerous conditions. But he's going to be a really good player. And I think it sent shockwaves because, we heard the rumblings that he was going to be available, but no one knew it was going to be that quick. Stu Skinner's name had been out there, right? And I think you and I had talked about it. Probably a change of scenery was going to be best for him because, again, I look at the Stu Skinner thing. If we're saying that internally the noise was going to get to him and then that's when they had to make the move, I say to myself, then if you thought the noise and the internal pressure and everything surrounding Stuart Skinner was going to be a problem, then why didn't you make this move before the season started and not allow it to get to this point?
Well, it's interesting because you are a pundit. And I listen to all the pundits. And I guess Jari's name had come up, but I mean, I listen to NHL radio a lot, and I think you probably have it in one of your earplugs right now. You listen to it all the time. Those guys were like, who are they going to get? Right? Bennington's name came up so much, and John, I can't remember, was John Gibson's name lately? I mean, he's doing great things in Detroit, but how many people really pegged that it was going to be Tristan Jarry going the other way?
I mean, I think his name was out there in the summer, because I know Pittsburgh had tried to move on from Jarry and that contract that they signed. Because let's not forget, go back a couple years when he signed that deal, he was gone out the door, right? Jarry's not coming back. He's not going to get signed. They're not going to sign him. Well, Pittsburgh re-signed him and extended him 5 times 7.5. And I'm like, why are we giving him this contract? Like, I don't get this. But they kept him, and they weren't going to retain. And Edmonton, like we talked about it, and when they felt the time was right to make the goaltending change, they were going to do it. They needed to find a better option. I guess they felt Jarry was the best option right now. I always just say to myself, if you really believed in Jarry and you thought this was going to get it done, why didn't you do it earlier? I know Brett Kulak was a sticking point and everything. John Gibson was mentioned in the summer, but again, injury history. Did Stan Bowman and company want to take a risk on a guy that gets hurt a lot? Probably not. Jarry, again, he's shown that he can do it, but he's not done it in the playoffs. And Stuart Skinner, yes, while he's gotten pulled in these playoff runs, he was the goalie in both Western Conference final appearances that outplayed Jake Ottinger to get the Edmonton Oilers to the Stanley Cup final.
I was just saying last hour was Scruffy. The whole legacy of Stuart Skinner and Edmonton, the whole story is just weird. Nobody's fault. It takes you to 2 Stanley Cup finals, but then you got to move them. It's just odd. By the way, Jersey Jim with us from NHLRumors.com and NHL Full Press. What's the last restaurant you went to, and what was the last meal you had? That's the fun little game we're playing, to name your bowl game name. Do you remember?
Oh, wow. Last restaurant I went to. You know what? I think I'm going to go with the Outback Steakhouse Mac and Cheese Bowl. I like that. That's a good name. That's a good name,
Sounds
right?
like a real bowl game. Absolutely it does, Jimmy. I love it. We got football questions coming in for you, and we'll get to those in a second. Just with this, one thing we've realized the last few years, and I'm here for it, is that teams don't wait to the NHL trade deadline anymore. Like, that's March, bro. We're not even at Christmas yet, and here's 2 earth-shattering trades. Are we seeing, or are you feeling that this will trigger a bunch of more deals as teams react to this?
I mean, you would think it would, but again, don't forget, holiday trade freeze is this Friday. So if you have laid your groundwork, we can expect that maybe a trade or two. Again, New Jersey tried to clear the cap space to get Quinn Hughes. They didn't. They couldn't get it done. Dougie Hamilton, Andre Palat were not going to Vancouver. Again, they're not waiving their no trade clause, no move clauses. Again, they have every right to do that. But again, the word out of Vancouver was, whether you want to believe it or not, he wasn't going to re-sign in the summer. Like they said, he told them that in the summer. He told them that last year. So you had time to make the moves, but where do you believe you were? And I think New Jersey, probably with the injuries that they had, didn't want to decimate the roster even more. So they're trying to hold some of those pieces to get a Ryan O'Reilly out of Nashville. And Nashville's playing a lot better now. Steven Stamkos is shooting. Again, maybe he's raising his trade stock. The goalie market started to move a little bit, but again, if you didn't lay your groundwork or you didn't shoot your shot like Bill Guerin, maybe we wait. Again, I'm still not sold that we get another trade before Friday, unless, hey, you know what? We have a deal in place before everything went down. Now let's try to get it done before Friday. It's going to be tough, just such a tight window after 2 big blockbuster trades on Friday. I'm not sure we get one by Friday, but I do expect activity to pick up after the Christmas holiday and heading into the Olympic break.
One last hockey question before we flip to football. I was just not going to get worked up about this Olympic hockey arena situation until I saw the video on the weekend of the arena, and I'm sure you saw it too. It doesn't look anywhere close to being ready to play in now less than 2 months' time. So what are you hearing? What are you thinking on that?
Well, what I'm hearing is it's not good. The AC unit hasn't been tested yet. The condenser hasn't been tested yet. The cooling system hasn't been tested yet. They don't know if the ice is going to be able to sustain. Rod, you've been around rinks like me pretty much your whole life. You know, you have to have the right cooling system to hold 16,000 people in a building all day to make sure the ice is right? Cold buildings. And it doesn't look like it's going to be ready. I feel bad for women. The women's hockey tournament, because they kick-started their first. February 5th is the first game of the women's hockey tournament, even before the men's ice hockey tournament. That's why I put it out there. I said, I was hearing rumblings that potentially they could back out. I'm not sure they will, but that's always on the table, because if this test event doesn't go well and there's real safety issues, I would not be shocked. And I know the players themselves don't want to back out, but it's a safety thing. But the issue is the league is dead for 2 weeks. So they may have to figure out where they want to play this thing if this rink isn't sustainable and suitable for NHL players, not only the women's hockey tournament as well. I think they're working on contingency plans to figure out to move this event someplace else.
I lied. One more hockey. This came from Jeff, the Stamps fan. He goes, why won't the Flames do something? What do you think they're going to do if they do anything?
I think the name to watch is Rasmus Andersson. I think they have to decide what the best package is for them. They got to get a yes package, right? This is the one thing Craig Button's talked about. I'm going to steal his line because I liked it. Make me say yes. Make me an offer I can't refuse from the Godfather. That's what the Minnesota Wild did for Quinn Hughes. They basically said, this is our yes offer to you. I think that's what they're waiting on for Rasmus Andersson. Where does he want to sign long term? I think that the agent is playing a little bit involved. The Flames are actually playing a lot better now. This is the Flames team I expected at the beginning of the year. Work hard, grind out games, play well, goaltending starting to pick up. I think that Cooley playing better has pushed Dustin Wolf to play better. And that's a good thing. They're playing their backup more, not relying on Wolf to play every game. You can't do that. You're going to burn the kid out. But they're playing a lot better. And again, Nazem Kadri's name's out there. I don't think they want to do it. And if they do, it's got to be an offer they can't refuse to move him. And I don't think they want to move him right now, because I think it would send a shockwave to players around the league to say, hey, you know what? Nazem Kadri thought he was going to be a solution here, and now they're going to move him. I may not want to sign in Calgary. And I think he wants to be a part of the solution there. I'm not sure Anderson does, and I think that's something that's going to pick up steam after we get out of Christmas.
All the way out in Victoria, BC, Wayne writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, I love me some Jersey Jim. I really enjoy his analysis of both hockey and football. He's all right. Yeah. Jersey Jim.
I appreciate the comment. Thank you so much.
On a dime, Ryan from upstate New York writes in and he says, Jersey Jim, what is your opinion on the Jets dismissing defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes? It just happened this morning.
I mean, probably it was about time for the Jets, like the Giants, Shane Bowen. I mean, that should have happened when the head coach got fired. I mean, they tried to find a scapegoat in New York for the Giants head coach. I think the Jets need to move on from their defensive coordinator. They're not going to fire the head coach. They just hired him. But the Jets is a complete mess, disaster organizationally. How they picked the head coach, how they went through everything. Aaron Glenn's just done they don't have a quarterback. They don't have talent. It's just a mess from top to bottom. Like I said at the beginning of the season when we talked about this, the Jets were better off when Woody Johnson wasn't involved and he was Ambassador Johnson. I'll continue to say it. I think he just needs to let the football people run this team and stop sticking his nose where it doesn't belong.
Which won't happen. But anyways, no. Rob in Las Vegas writes in, and I apologize, Rob, because I said I was going to read his comment coming into hour 2, and I didn't, but I will now. A couple. Number one, he says, confirm Micah Parsons torn ACL, which I think we all knew was coming. And he also says NFL owners seem to be softening on the idea of letting John Gruden return to the league. I think the Giants are the most likely landing spot for Gruden. He's certainly making himself visible. I don't think there's any doubt that he's a great coach. But I still think as long as Roger Goodell's the commissioner, he's not coming back. And that's what I hear within NFL circles, but I may be wrong. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think Gruden would be an excellent coach for the New York Giants, to be honest. I think they need that discipline, that accountability, that style for the players that they have there. Again, I think he had that lawsuit with the NFL that I think is still ongoing. No result right now. So I don't know how good that would be, a good look. But again, they have to make good faith because they kind of pushed him out of the league. And yeah, he's doing fine right now. So I don't know if he even wants to come back. I think what he's doing on his own, he might be more happy. I mean, I think you go to, again, coaches in sports, you're hired to get fired. You could be great one year and then you could be fired the next year. Does he want that circle? He's a great NFL coach. He's a good NFL mind. He could work with quarterbacks. And I think that would be the type of coach, I'm going to be honest, for the Giants, that would put Jackson Dart in line and be like, kid, you need to learn how to take care of your body and slide. He even told him that in his Gruden camp video. If you saw it, he said, dude, you got to learn how to protect yourself. He would be actually a really good coach for the Giants.
I think he'd be a good coach for anybody, but somebody wrote in here earlier, I apologize that I forgot who it was, but they said, it would be nice if these grown men could get over things. I'm like, yeah, but I've lived it firsthand. It would be nice, but they don't. So, no. I mean, and which, by the way, that's another thing. So how many coaches have been fired in the NFL now? Brian Callahan in Tennessee. Dayball got fired is 2. Has there only been 2?
I think
this
that's
year,
just
in season.
2 so far. So far, it's been 2. I believe it's 2.
Right. But with a couple weeks left, there's no point firing anybody now, is there? I mean, now you're in the race for tanking in the draft, and I don't think anybody's going to be fired now the rest of the way. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Glenn.
So.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but you just hired it. But you just hired Aaron Glenn. That means if you fire him after one season, that means he was the wrong choice to begin with, and you did a poor coaching search, and you just picked a former Jet. That's not fair to Aaron Glenn. I know this is the business we live in, but that means you did a poor job finding your coach that you thought was going to be there for a while.
Yeah, people keep thinking they're never going to get it. Screwed up teams make screwed up decisions. You think the Jets are finally going to get it? After all this time, you think they're actually going to finally figure it out? So nothing would surprise them. Which, speaking of Ryan in upstate New York, says, your mouth to God's ears regarding Woody Johnson, Jim. LOL. Thanks for your answer. Yeah, he's suddenly going to go, oh, yeah, the fans are right in the media. I should just back away. Never. That would be almost like asking Jerry Jones. That ain't happening either.
No,
that's not happening.
Not happening. Not happening in Dallas.
Yeah, but you and I have talked the last time you were on about who would be the next or first coach fired in the NHL. We're now sitting here coming up on Christmas, and nobody's been fired. Last year at this time, there were at least 2 fired. Jim Montgomery in Boston, and the Blues guy, can't remember his name, Drew Callahan or whatever. Do we expect there will be a coach firing in the NHL, do you think, in the next few months?
Again, like everything's so tight, right? In the standings, so much parity throughout the league. I think we kept an eye on Nashville to see what they were going to do. I think if they hadn't turned things around, I could have seen Andrew Burnett gone, and they bring in Pete DeBoer to figure some things out there, right? They want to get younger. I think, again, this Trotz want to put Andrew Burnett through the fire and through the war with the media in regards to the firing of the head coach. Trotz has been a head coach, but he's had everything on the table. Again, Calgary's not firing anybody. Ryan Huska just got an extension. Chris Knobloch in Edmonton just got an extension. There were some talks about Jim Hiller potentially being fired in LA. They were meeting with Pete DeBoer. Ken Holland adamantly, denied it. I think the team to watch, and I think the team to look at is Buffalo. We've talked about it. Lindy Ruff's on an expiring deal. There's rumblings about a GM change. Does Jarmo Kekalainen really believe in Lindy Ruff, or does he want to give somebody within the organization a look? That's the situation I'm watching in Buffalo. I think the Buffalo Sabres head coaching position and general manager position is something I'm looking at, because the rest of the league, nobody's moving their head coach. And I don't even know if Adam Foote's going to get fired.
Right. From the account WHL 1986, he writes and he says, don't rule out the Raiders axing Pete Carroll. Well, at this point, what's the point? They already fired Chip Kelly. The season's in the toilet. You might as well wait until the end of the season. Hey, by the way, we only got a couple minutes left, but what's the game of the night in the NHL? There's some doozies. Ottawa, Winnipeg on Prime. Chris Kreider returns to MSG tonight with the Ducks. Or the Battle of Florida, or maybe something I haven't even thought of. Of the 5 tonight, is there one game that sticks out to you?
Yeah, Battle of Florida to me. I think that's the game that sticks out to me. Not to, I've been down in Florida. I've seen the games between these two teams. I look at these teams and I say to myself, the wars that they've had against each other, to me, that's must-watch TV. You want to see what comes next between Tampa and Florida. They don't like each other. This is how playoff rivalries are built. in the playoffs. These rivalry was built in the playoffs. These teams don't like each other. It's going to be emotional for Chris Kreider to return to New York, but I'm putting on Tampa, Florida. That's the game to me I'm watching.
Why is nobody talking about Jacob Trouba coming back, or has he already been back once? I feel like that is just as big a story.
It is a big story, but I think the way he left and the way he didn't leave, I think Ranger fans are not happy. I think they wanted to try to get rid of him sooner, and he didn't move his. Again, has his right to waive it. Didn't waive his no move clause the first time, but I think the way he left leaves a sour taste in people's mouths. The way he kind of bailed on the season and started some stuff in the locker room and caused a mutiny. I think people hold Kreider in a higher standard.
Ah, gotcha. Well, again, it's a good night to be by the tube tonight, watching a lot of great NHL games and a great Monday nighter with the Dolphins at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rob's watching in Las Vegas. He writes in and he says, tanking time for the Raiders. That's the thing. You might as well just keep Pete now. What would be the point of firing Pete Carroll now if you're the Vegas Raiders? And God knows who the next head coach will be. Although I almost feel like I would never be surprised to see Tom Brady with a headset on the sidelines. He's doing everything else. Might as well. Jem, Merry Christmas. I know we will keep in touch, but for the sake of being on the air, Merry Christmas to you and yours, my friend. Thanks for this. It's, as always, a lot of fun.
Always a pleasure, Rod. Thanks for having me on. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. And if I don't see anybody, Happy New Year as well.
Sign up for Substack, everybody. NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. That's what Jimmy does for a living, and he does it better than anybody else. Hardest working man in the NHL. We'll be right back. Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your Apple, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's time for a sports update on this Monday. First, Patrick Mahomes went down. Then it was Micah Parsons. The NFL lost two of its all-time greatest players to serious knee injuries in a span of a few hours on Sunday, ruining a day filled with exciting comebacks and fascinating stories. 44-year-old Phillip Rivers played his first game in 1,800 days and nearly led the 14-point underdog Indianapolis Colts to a stunning upset against Seattle before Jason Myers kicked a 56-yard field goal with 29 seconds to go to lift the Seahawks to an 18-16 victory. Reigning NFL MVP Josh Allen led Buffalo to a 21-0 deficit to a 35-31 victory at New England. Just some quick NFL highlights on a fantastic NFL Sunday, unless your name is Patrick Mahomes or Micah Parsons. By the way, you can pick up all the greatest and latest NFL gear at Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. They bring you our sports updates. Your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Stop in before Christmas and see them yourself, or you can shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Scotty Scheffler is the PGA Tour Player of the Year for the fourth consecutive time. Tiger Woods is the only other player to win the Jack Nicklaus Award at least 4 straight times since it began in 1990. Woods won it 5 times in a row and 11 overall. Scheffler was the clear favorite in a vote of the players. The Chicago Blackhawks have placed Connor Bedard on injured reserve with an upper body injury. Bedard got hurt in the final seconds of Friday night's 3-2 loss at St. Louis. Chicago also recalled defenseman Ethan Del Mastro and goaltender Laurent Brossoit from Rockford of the American Hockey League. Brossoit had been in the minors on a conditioning assignment. And news from the National Football League. Monday morning, New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn has fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. The decision by Glenn came after the team allowed 48 points in a significant loss to Jacksonville on Sunday. Again, the sports update is for Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. Dressed like a fan, not a spectator. Ultimate Fan Zone has everything you need: jerseys, hats, hoodies, and more. Start shopping now at ultimatefanzone.ca. Okay, wherever you are tuned in from, we have a vast footprint now with the Rod Pedersen Show. So let's just have fun the rest of the way. Not that we weren't having fun before. But pick up the phone, not if you're driving, of course, but if you're at home, and text us on the Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033. I'd love to hear from some people we haven't heard from before. It's a fun little game we're playing. And we ran out of time with Jersey Jim. I would have got into bowl season and college football, but we got weeks ahead to do that. And Jersey Jim always likes coming on to talk about it. Various things. But with bowl season beginning Tuesday, the Salute to Veterans Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, featuring Troy and Jacksonville State. What's the last restaurant you ate at and the last meal you had? That's your bowl team name. Mine, the Crazy Uncle Mike's Sports Bar, Nacho Bowl. I'm still looking at Russ's. He wrote in here and says, Golf's Steakhouse Steak and Lobster Bowl. Oh, my God. Jersey Jim's was the Outback Steakhouse Mac and Cheese Bowl. Small things amuse small minds, as you know. Producer Corey saying in my ear, Outback has mac and cheese. Yes, it does. One of the many sides. You should go check it out as we sit here and be advertising for free for Outback Steakhouse. Right on the Vegas Strip, right? Basically across from Treasure Island, last I checked. 902-518-3033, wherever you are tuned in from. What is your last restaurant you ate at, last meal you had? That is your bowl game name. And how many will you be watching, by the way? The December 23rd. I mean, I have this bracelet that says 1 day at a time. So I live literally 1 day at a time. So I'm not really looking at the bowl games per se. December 23rd, I don't even know what day of the week that is. I know it's next week. And that is the Bush's Beans Boca Raton Bowl here in Boca Raton, Florida, featuring Toledo versus Louisville. So I'll at least be able to, watch one live. Oh, and by the way, I need to delve into some of your comments from the NFL games on Sunday. Hi, Monty. Monty writing in from the Bridge City. He says, good show. Tony and Cochran writing into Slam Shitter Sanders. Are you still here, Tony? Are you still here? Because I'd like to go a couple rounds with you on the Shitter comments you made. We'll do all that in overtime when we come back. 902-518-3033. Final segment coming up here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody. What am I doing? I'm checking the weather conditions. Not that you asked. I'll tell you why in a second. It is overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes. And I do appreciate the interest from the people in Calgary today. All of you watching here on Game Plus TV streaming, and I guess not the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network, but maybe it's Calgary people visiting in Vegas. I'm not sure. But they're very interested in what the Calgary Flames are going to do. They're clearly not loading up with their hockey team struggling right now. But will they be unloading? Yeah, the answer is yes. And actually, I like that this isn't going all the way down to the trade deadline in March. They're getting business done ahead of time. Ron is watching in Calgary with our fun question of what is your college bowl game name, the last restaurant you ate at, last thing you ordered. Ron says, the Hard Knocks Chicken Wing Bowl. That works. Where is Hard Knocks in Calgary? That sounds like a new restaurant to me. And he also says, Ron says, 100% agree with Jersey Jim. The Flames are waiting for the perfect fit. Overtime Hockey Lanes is in Calgary. They bring you the overtime segment every single day, and they have for years. You know why? It works. Our viewers go check them out, and they are repeat visitors. It's an overtime. It's a amusement park for hockey players. That's what I always say. Golfers have driving ranges. Baseball players have batting cages. Why would you not have shooting lanes? Well, in Calgary, they do. Overtime Hockey Lanes, it's the greatest thing going. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. Stop in there, check it out, and participate in their 12 Days of Christmas charitable campaign they've got going on. I was checking the weather because very cloudy, windy, quite windy here in South Florida today. I know none of you are worried about my safety. 22 degrees Celsius, 72 above Fahrenheit. The Miami Heat are home tonight to the Toronto Raptors. There's usually only one game a year that I go to for the Heat, and it's when the Raptors are in town. That's my NBA team. The plan was to go, then it was not to go, and it was quasi-thinking that then it was back on to go, and finally, no, not doing it. And it doesn't hurt that the Battle of Florida is on the telly tonight. Florida Panthers at the Tampa Bay Lightning. When those two teams get together, it's always a hell of a lot of fun. John Ohm checking in. He's watching on the streaming. He says, I'm on my way back to Winnipeg. Just landed in Calgary. Thank you, John, for the weather update, or the travel update. The Winnipeg Jets, home tonight to the Ottawa Senators, and both Scruffy and I picked the Jets to win tonight. The question that had a lot of steam in hour one's kind of lost steam in hour two, because I haven't brought it up that much. But what is the more difficult position to play? NFL quarterback or NHL goaltender? John, I feel like you in Winnipeg might be a goalie guy. Why? Because you're like me. You're a little out there. We're out there. All the best goalies are. And maybe you have a thought on that. I feel like that might be the poll question tomorrow. What's the more difficult position to play? NHL, CFL quarterback, NHL goalie. I was a goalie. I'm going to say quarterback. There's not a whole lot of thinking has to go into being a goalie. I'm sorry. At least there wasn't for me. And that's probably why I'm sitting in front of you today, not stopping pucks for a living. But as a quarterback, you're still going to get hurt. But you need to know your position plus everybody else's position on the field and a whole lot of other things. You got to worry about that clock over here, the clock up there. Yeah, there's just too much going on to be a quarterback. Regarding the favorite, the last restaurant you ate at and the last meal you had as your bowl game name, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, the French-made lunch buffet bowl. You almost had me. Except I know that the French Maid isn't open anymore. But God bless it. With a fantastic lunch buffet. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. Darcy is watching in Edmonton. He says the Canadian Brewhouse Rita Burger Bowl. Works. I would suggest that works for me. And if I want to back this up to the second last restaurant that I had Saturday night, we went on a boat parade tour. Doesn't that sound great? Wanted it to do it for years here in Florida. Finally, we did it. Yeah, we went out on the boat. Thank you, Brent from Wellington, Florida. Anchored. and then watched as a parade of boats went by, and they were all lit up, similar to my set, but a lot more fancy. Yeah, what do we got, Corey? So anyways, when that was done, we went to a restaurant called the Waterway. And so that would be, for me, the Waterway Bacon Cheddar Burger Bowl. Not that exciting. But the burger was fantastic. Anyways, we started this years ago, this little talk about the favorite restaurant, last meal. And John Frenzy, the Hall of Fame Rough Riders broadcaster, said the Mr. Mike's Taco Salad Bowl. And when I started this talk business back May 17th, 2010 was when I did my first show. I said, John Frenzy, how do you do this? I've never done talk before. Hey, turn on the mic and just talk. What do you talk about? You just talk. Talk until people start calling. It's the best advice I ever got on this particular topic. Dale writes in from Winnipeg. He says, Rod and crew, great as always. Took out the other Jeep to Kenora this weekend. Had an amazing time with Jack. We needed it. Be well. Hey, you can never go wrong with taking your Jeep out for a little drive. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go do that right now. Hey, Monty. The Wendell Clark Classic Burger Bowl. What a great way to end that. I love it. And today's show, thanks to Jersey Jim, thanks to Scruffy, producer Corey. We'll do it all again tomorrow. We'll see what comes up by then. Enjoy the games tonight, everybody. Be safe, be good to each other, and most importantly, to yourself. We'll see you tomorrow.
That.